Good afternoon, everyone. We are the Group 5 and our assigned topic is all about the Philippine government. The Philippines is a republic with a presidential government, in which there are three branches divided into the government, which are the legislative, executive, and judicial. Now, there are principles and policies of the governance in the Philippines, and that it is centered on promoting transparency, accountability, participation, and the rule of law. Now, here are some case principles and policies of the Philippines governance. The first one is democracy and rule of people. When we say democracy, it is ruled by people for the people, and it is a democratic state under the rule of the law in a state wherein citizens elected their own leaders, and the government is bound by the law, while also helping to ensure that the law is respected among the citizens in the Philippines. The second one is transparency and accountability. It is the obligation of the public authorities to make public all information related to the activity of administration, while on the other hand, interested parties should have an equal access of information and data resources. Transparency is bound to be the major principles which result into good governance. Example of that is the Original One Hub and Open Data or DC. By giving access to seeking information, the government is accountable to the government. Letter C of the principles and policies of the government is participation and inclusiveness. In participation and inclusiveness, it encourages public participation in policy making, planning, and decision-making processes. This includes active role of the civil society, organization, media, and private citizens. The third one is decentralization and local autonomy. This is the right of the local communities to have their own administrative or administration authorities autonomous for the state. The Local Government Code of 1991 Republic Act number 1760 grants local government units or LGUs substantial autonomy to govern and manage local affairs and craft policies that are tailored to their communities. The last one is social justice and human rights. In social justice and human rights, it includes the rights of every Filipinos or every person, which are us. In social justice and human rights, it means everyone's human rights are being respected, protected, and promoted. Everyone has an access to equal opportunities and resources necessary to thrive. This doesn't guarantee to have a perfect society where everyone is always happy. However, it will give us a chance to fight for our life or the things that we want. And the government is expected to promote equitable or equitable access to resources, education, healthcare, and other basic needs of every Filipinos or every person, and it ensures for protection of each of the individual. And these are the principles and policies of the governance in the Philippines.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Joyda Jinjula, and my assigned topic is all about 8 policies of governance in the Philippines. So, number 1 is the anti-corruption policies. Anti-corruption policies, laws such as the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practice Act and Republic Act number 3019, and the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees and Republic Act number 6713 are in place to combat corruption and promote ethical conduct in the public sector. And the next is freedom of information. Executive Order number 2 in 2016 implements the Freedom of Information program, enabling Filipino citizens to request access to public documents Government Partnership. The Philippines is a member of the OGP, which promotes government transparency, encourages civic participation, fights corruption, and harnesses new technologies to strengthen governance. And next is governance and anti-red tape efforts. The Ease of Doing Business and Efficient Governance Service Delivery Act of 2018 and Republic Act Number 11032 streamlines business processes and reduces bureaucratic red tape, making public service delivery more efficient. And the next is human rights policies. The government is committed to upholding human rights through the work of the Commission on Human Rights, and which monitors and investigates violations and various laws that protect citizens from abuse and exploitation. And the last one is the environmental policies. Several policies such as the Philippine Clean Air Act and Republic Act Number 8749, Clean Water Act and Republic Act Number 9275, and the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act, Republic Act Number 9003 aimed to promote sustainable development and environmental protection. And in overall, the Philippines has made significant progress in implementing key policies to improve governance and address critical societal issues. However, challenges remain in fully realizing the goals of these policies, particularly in terms of enforcement, accountability, and public participation. Continuous efforts are needed to strengthen these policies, address corruption, promote transparency, and ensure the protection of human rights and the environment. The Philippines' commitment to good governance and sustainable development will be crucial for its long-term prosperity and well-being. And that's all. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Rafael Susi, and my assigned topic is State Constitution as Citizenship. Thus, the Philippines as a sovereign state is governed by a constitution that defines its structure, functions, and rights individuals' liberties and prevents the government from abusing its power. It ensures the citizens have voice in the society and are protected from arbitrary actions by states. And the executive branch. Executive branch. The role of executive branch is responsible for implementing and enforcing laws passed by legislative branch. It also responsible for leading the country and overseeing the day-to-day operations of government. The president is head for the executive branch. They are elected by the people and serve a 6-year term. The president appoints a cabinet of ministers who are responsible for specific areas of government, such as education, health, and defense. And the judicial branch. The role of judicial branch is responsible for interpreting the laws passed by the legislative branch and ensuring they are applied fairly. It also resolves disputes between individual businesses and the government. The judicial branch is headed by the Supreme Court. Kung ang legislative branch ang president, ang judicial branch kay ang Supreme Court. It is headed by Supreme Court, which is the highest court in the Philippines. There are also lower courts such as Court of Appeals, regional trial courts, and municipal trial courts. And its function is interpreting laws, resolving disputes, ensuring due process, and judicial review. And the local government are responsible for providing services and addressing the needs of specific communities within their jurisdiction. They are closer to the people and have a better understanding of local issues. Each local government, province, city, and municipality and barangay has its own elected officials such as governor, mayor, and council members. And the function of local government is providing services, implementing national laws, and managing local resources, promoting local development, and representing local interests. And those are the key features of the 1987 Constitution. So let's proceed to the citizenship in the Philippines. Citizenship. This refers to the legal status of being a member of state. Granting individuals certain rights and imposing certain duties. In the Philippines, citizenship can be acquired through by birth, by nature, by birth. By birth, a person born to a Filipino parent is automatically a natural-born citizen, regardless of where they were born. So, ang citizenship is referred to the kanang dira ka na tao, dili ka sa Philippines na tao o dili na siya mag-matter kung asa ka na lugar na tao basta dili sa Philippines, automatic na ka na natural-born citizen. And by naturalization, naturalization. Foreigners can become Filipino citizens through a legal process that involves meeting specific requirements such as residency, good moral character, and knowledge of the Constitution. And the last one is dual citizenship. Dual citizenship, the Philippines allows dual citizenship, meaning a Filipino citizen can also hold citizen in another country. The rights of Filipino citizen is the right to vote, right to be elected to public office, right to the due process and equal protection under the law, and right to own property, right to engage in business, right to enter in contract, right to education, and right to work any legitimate occupations. And that's all. Thank you.
So, good afternoon everyone. I am Rama Himalo and I'm going to report about the branches of Philippine government.
municipalities. And representative elected through a party list system of registered national, region, and sectoral parties or organization. So the party list representative should constitute 20% of the total number of representatives, including those under the party list for 3 consecutive terms after the revocation of this constitution. One of the set allocated to party list representative should be held as provided by law, election or election from the labor, present, urban poor, indigenous, cultural communities, women, youth, and such other sectors as may be provided by law, except from the religious sector. So, pwede mga house representative kagang sa mga sa indigenous, women, and youth and others. The last one is the judicial branch. The judicial branch hold the power to settle controversies involving rights that are legally demandable and enforceable. This branch determines whether or not there has been a grave abuse of discretion, amounting to lack of access of jurisdiction on the part of instrumentally of the government. This act is made of the Supreme Court and the lower court. The judicial branch government can change act of the other branches as follows. The president can veto laws passed by Congress form or reject the president's appointment and can remove the president. So ang Congress is pwede siya maka-remove sa kanang sa president nakita na iyang pahawaon like sa karon ni Vice President like ni Sara Duterte, di ba, kay kuan siya sa Congress kay tungod sa iyang nagasto sa education, which is gamay ra iyang mo pero dako iyang na buha. The Justice of Supreme Court who can overturn unconstitutional laws are appointed by the President and confirmed by the Senate. So ang law kay kuan siya sa di-appoint siya sa pwede siya i-appoint sa President pero ikaw niya after ipa-confirm pa niya sa Senate. So this constitution expressly grants the Supreme Court the power of judicial review as the power to declare a treaty, international or executive agreement law, presidentially proclamation order, instructions, and others. So this 3 branch of government is cannot be functioned without the others. Our daily lives depend on how well these 3 branches work together. Over the course of example of pandemic, we have come to realize that we should be more well informed about our government so that we can choose or vote for our next government leaders wisely.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Juliet Barabeno, and my assigned topic is all about the Constitutional Commission. So, the Constitutional Commission of the Philippines refers specifically to the body that was formed in 1986 to draft a new constitution for the country following the People Power Revolution, which led to the ousting of then President Ferdinand Marcos. And this event marked the end of martial law and the shift towards restoring democratic institutions. So, Ferdinand Marcos was ousted in 1986 and President Corazon Aquino abolished the old constitution which had allowed